Yeah, this is the inequality note sheet, guys. So this is where we left off in our last class. And so we were doing inequalities with variables on both sides. So like in problem number 4, we wanted to get our variables on one side. So I moved that to the other side by subtracting 6b from both sides. Okay, so I got my variables on the left. And then I get the numbers, so like this -7, I'm going to move to the right. So that's what I did here in this step. Okay, so I moved anything with a variable to the left, anything without a variable to the right, and then we just finish it off by dividing. So the next part and last part for this section is really just going to be more about the graphic, okay? But these are what's called compound, meaning there's more than one statement together. So notice, each of these, it has 2 statements, but we're going to put 2 statements on the same graph. So what we want to do is first look at whether it is an and or an or statement. Okay, so look at the middle word, whether it's an and or an or statement. An and statement means that it has to satisfy both equations. I'll explain that in just a minute. An or statement means it can work for one or the other. Okay, so in an or statement, like in problem number 1, we're going to graph numbers that are less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to do this part first. So numbers less than or equal to 0, I would do a closed circle at 0, closed because I have the equal sign, and it's less than, so I'm shading to the left of it. That's half of my graph. That's not the whole thing. That is half of the graph. So now we want to shade the other half of the graph. We want to shade x is greater than 2. Okay, and I'm going to change colors even though it's all considered one graph. X is greater than 2. That means an open circle at 2. And greater than means to the right. So this part was the blue part of the graph, and this part was the red part of the graph. Okay, and because it is an or statement, that means I have 2 sections there. Okay, so that's my graph. I'm done. I graphed the left side and I graphed the right side, and I have 2 sections because it is an or statement. For the problem 2, I'm first going to graph x is greater than -1. Okay, so I go to -1, open circle, and shading to the right. Okay, this is the red part. Now I'm going to shade the blue part, numbers less than 3. So I go to 3 and I put an open circle, and I want to shade numbers less than 3. So that is to the left. Now that is one ugly looking graph. I'm not done yet, by the way. Because it is an and statement, my solution is where the 2 graphs overlap. And so our answer, I'm going to write in 3. It's going to be this open circle at -1, this open circle at +3, and all the stuff together, because that is the stuff that is shaded by both the blue and red. So that we can see that a little better, I'll get rid of those other parts. our final answer is that green graph. Okay, open circle at -1, open circle at +3, and shaded in between. All right. Next one, I'm going to do problem number 3. So this is a little different because it's all written in one statement. If it's all written in one statement, okay, this is considered an AND statement. We need to shade our numbers that are greater than -4 and numbers that are less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to do that all in one step. Okay, I have -4. I have an open circle at -4 because there's no equal sign there. And I have a closed circle at +4 because there is an equal sign there. And I want to shade the stuff in between. That stuff in between is greater than -4 and less than +4. Okay, so the graph looks similar to like this AND graph when it's all written together in one statement. All right, problem number 4. We want to graph x is greater than or equal to 5. So I will put a closed circle at 5 because of the equal sign. And I want greater than, so shaded to the right. So I did that part in red. And now in blue, I want to shade stuff that is less than or equal to -6. So that's going to be a closed circle at -6 and shaded to the left. All right, will you guys try problem number 5 real quick, okay? So take about 30 seconds, try problem number 5. All right, here we go, guys. Problem number 5. So this problem is a lot like problem number 3. So it's an AND statement. I want to shade stuff that is less than 10. So my display is lagging a little bit. So I have an open circle at 10. And I'm going to shade stuff less than 10. So I'll erase that part in a minute because I need the overlapping area, right? I also want to shade stuff greater than -8. So I'll go to -8, put an open circle, and I'm going to shade greater than -8. And so then that means that my answer is going to be an open circle at -8 and an open circle at +10, and all of the stuff in between is shaded. All right, last one. It's an AND statement. So I'll do x is less than 9. So open circle at 9. And we want less than, so shade it to the left. And x is greater than or equal to 3. So I need a closed circle at 3 and shaded to the right. And so again, for an AND statement, I need the overlapping stuff. So the overlapping stuff would be a closed circle at 3, an open circle at 9, and shaded in between. So that would be our final answer. All right, any questions?